straight on hi-fi beat. Give me paper, pen, and one mic to make this man complete. I'm always stay sucker free. So haters hop off my dick till the day I die. Focus till my mission complete. Never stops that victory from the jaws of defeat. Focused on create heat. Missile shot, war down enemies. We must defeat. This MC is so unique. Rocking heads, stop them dead, then bring them back to their feet. You better watch what you speak. Just popping off with the mouth, I'll leave your body feel weak. Switch your face and grit your teeth. Cause anything else will have your outlook look bleak. Death is the time for sleep. Nicho, make a rhyme. Never slow down, never stop, I'm always on my grind. In any mountain I will climb. Reach my physical prime and I ascend to the peak. Introducing Omar, the Professor Fonseca, and the Professor Semanalmente. Yo, what up, friends? Welcome to another episode of the Professor Semanalmente. I am your host, Omar, the Professor Fonseca, and I thank you, as always, for tuning in. We've got a huge day of news ahead of us to catch up on. Yes, it has been a couple weeks since we did the news headline program. I've had a bunch of stuff going on, traveling, covering various events, as well as doing a bunch of other different shows. If you haven't been checking out Sunday Showdown, the football recap show, please check that out every Sunday. And as well, tomorrow we will have our World Series preview on the channel. Please make sure you subscribe to Ball and Buds. Handy QR code right up there at the top. Scan that bad boy. It will take you to our link tree. Find all our social media at Ball and Buds, BALLAND BUDS World Series preview. As well, we will have our NBA season preview next week. And as well, in between there, we'll have a couple boxing, combat sports, other shows, as well as Sunday Showdown every Sunday. So Ball and Buds kicking into full gear, and I've got another surprise. Total evisceration. Yes, it's been talked about for so long, but it is coming true. Hot Take Jake and yours truly, the sports professor, will battle it out for Sports Take supremacy. That'll be coming here in the new year, so stay tuned. We're working on making sure that's coming out every Tuesday. So full slate ahead for Ball and Buds. We appreciate all the fans. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Again, my name is Omar, the Professor Fonseca. Let's kick this bad boy off. All right, first of all, let's start off in the sports world. Yes, indeedy. Let's talk about it. There is only one great word in sports, and that there's lots of great words, but the greatest word in sports, Game 7. Yes, Game 7 tonight. Shout out Big Rube. Yes, sir. Thank you for tuning in. Game 7 tonight. Yes, indeedy. The playoffs have been awesome thus far. What we have now is tonight the Toronto Blue Jays at home playing against the Seattle Mariners. The Mariners had the edge. They were up Toronto last night, put a whooping on them, tied up 3-3. Yes! So excited. I love nothing more than a Game 7 in sports. It's coming on here tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern in just about 2 hours, hour and 40 minutes now. So we're looking into that. Great series thus far, back and forth. I, as you know, before the series started, picked the Mariners to win this series. I was a little hesitant there because I wasn't sure. They were both really, really good teams. Blue Jays overall the better. I guess you can't say better because Seattle's a little more spunkier, a little younger. They got the big dumper who should be the MVP if you're asking the sports professor. Let's get that straight. You got a catcher with 60 home runs. Catcher in baseball, if you don't know, is also the leader of the team, basically the point guard, the captain, the quarterback. So shout out to them. But yeah, going to be a great game. Looking forward to that tonight. But did you see? Did you see in the Dodgers series clinching win? Wow. Holy cannolis. I really need to, you know what I need to do? I need to pare down on my my sound bites, because now I don't know where they are because I added too many, and I can't give you the Ric Flair woo because I don't know where they are. So you're just going to get my woo. Shohei Ohtani. I mean, is there anything else to be said about this tremendous ball player? Compared to Babe Ruth when he came in the league, he has proved nothing less and only more than that. Only to be just the cherry on top, which he hasn't really done yet, although they did win. The Dodgers did win the World Series last year already. Shohei Ohtani had one of, if not the most amazing performances, sporting performances, not only in baseball, but in sports history, in any sport ever. My man, Shohei, my brother, this dude went out, and as we all know, right, he is he's ambidextrous, as we like to call it, right? A little ambidextrous action. He's both a pitcher and a great batter as well. So not only is he able to strike out some of the world's greatest hitters, but he is also able to mash balls straight out of the ballpark. And Shohei Ohtani proved no different in the sweep over the Milwaukee Brewers by the Los Angeles Dodgers. Shohei Ohtani, get this, y'all. Listen to this stat line right here. 6 innings pitched, 0 runs given up, 2 hits given up, and 10 strikeouts over 6 innings, right? But, oh, wait, that's not all. There's more. What did he do as a batter? He only went on to hit 3 home runs. One of them mammothly just went out of Dodger Stadium completely, and 4 RBIs. So what are we talking about here, right? What are we really talking about in comparisons of actual sports performances? We have Michael Jordan's flu game, right? We have Tiger Woods winning the U.S. Open on a torn Achilles, right? We have, even in baseball, you've got Don Larson's perfect game in the World Series. If you look at just pitching and hitting performances within the same game, shout out to Tony Reale, my brother from former Around the Horn sports fame, has a blog out. I think it's on Substack called I Love Everything About This. Y'all should definitely check it out. Daily newsletter. It's a good one. It's a good one. I like it. But anyways, he gave us the down low on this. There are only 3 players ever to eat, or two players other than Shohei, to have a stat line close to him in a baseball game. And one of those didn't even happen in terms of a good pitching performance. One of the guys gave up 4 runs over 5 innings. So we're automatically going to eliminate that, right? But in terms of one guy named Don Wise, and this was, this was back in the day, he pitched a no-hitter and had 3 home runs. Now, this was in a regular season game, not a divisional series clinching game, but nonetheless, a pretty epic performance if you're throwing a no-hitter and hitting 3 home runs. The pitching performance was better than Shohei's. Shohei only pitched 6 innings, but again, magnitude of the game, the pressure, the competition at that point, and that's when you have to go with Shohei over Mr. Don Wise. Salute to him. I didn't, as a baseball, I would consider myself a baseball purist, or not necessarily a historian, but I know a lot of baseball, and I did not even know that gentleman had that performance. So shout out to him. I also don't know much about, I shouldn't say I don't know much. I do know a lot, but I don't know everything about baseball back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. I was not alive at that time. Please excuse me. But anyways, point holds. Shohei Ohtani produced one of the best sporting performances of all time, and in my opinion, the greatest baseball single performance of all time. What do you think? Do you think the same? Here we got a little bit of volume fluctuation here. Is that the same? Are you still hearing me? I can move over a little bit. Let me scoot the microphone a little closer over. We're going to make sure our lines are good. Let me make sure we got a nice little, there we go. How's that? Does that sound a little better? Hopefully that's good. Go back over here. All right. Hopefully that clears it up. All right. Thank you for that. Anyways, so that was, again, a crazy one. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Whoever wins this game tonight will move on to face the Los Angeles Dodgers in the World Series. As much as we don't like the evil empire type things within sports, and even though I don't like it, I did pick the Dodgers that they were going to repeat as World Series champions before the season. Again, don't want to see it, but probably going to expect that it's going to happen now. Maybe the rest hurts them a little bit since they'll have off till Friday when the World Series starts. So we'll see about that. Shout out my brother Scott. What's up, my brother? Yeah. Talk about my trash Raiders. Yes. We can always chat about my trash Raiders. If you saw Sunday Showdown yesterday, our NFL college football show after the day games before the night games, we trashed them pretty hard. Horrible performance. Abhorrent, to say the least. 31-0. I turned the game off early. I actually was pissed off, so I went to the gym and had a little workout instead. Just horribleness. And we just haven't been good in so long. I'm going to start calling it the curse of Gruden, because first of all, we haven't even been good since Gruden was coach. Then we trade John Gruden, and then we stink until we get John Gruden back, and then we're good again for that period, and then we get screwed and he gets taken away from us and we suck all over again. So I'm going to call it the curse of John Gruden. We will not be good again until he is back, but no fear. I believe after Pete Carroll's tenure is done here, within the next year or two, he's not going to get fired this year. They'll give him another year, but after that, John Gruden will return. And unfortunately to say, Davis will never sell that team. It's in the Davis family for life. Rest in peace to the legendary Al Davis, by the way. All right. And your Bears aren't that much better, so don't even get me started on that. But we will talk a little bit of football, though. Did you see that amazing comeback yesterday that the Broncos pulled off on the Giants? Wow. It was awesome. Going into the fourth quarter, the Denver Broncos faced an more than 18. It was worse at the start of the fourth, but with 6 minutes left in the fourth, they still had 18-point deficit that they were behind the New York Giants, and they came back to win the game. So what does that mean? Let me give you a professor's fun fact here. NFL teams, when leading by 18 or more points in the final 6 minutes, like the New York Giants were winning yesterday, have won 1,602 consecutive games. Let me repeat that. The Broncos pulled off something that has not happened in 1,602 consecutive games. Shout out my brother Hot Take Jake. A team had not lost when leading by 18 plus with 6 minutes to go in that many games. Crazy. Denver scores 21 actual unanswered points in the last 548, capped by a 42-yard touchdown pass. This comeback ranks in the top 5 most statistically improbable wins in NFL history. The win probability was less than 0.1%. So talk about a miracle. How crazy was that? Yes, I agree. Very, very crazy miracle for the Broncos there. By the way, let's talk about a little power rankings. This is going into tonight's action. So you see my power rankings here. Let me blow that up a little bit for you. So again, remember, this was going into tonight. So this is before tonight's games. Tampa Bay still at number 1 from last week. We will see what happens tonight as they are part of that ESPN Monday night doubleheader, which, by the way, we will talk about in just a second. Is that going to continue? A lot of people don't like the doubleheader on Monday night. What about you? Do you like the doubleheader on Monday night? The Buccaneers versus the Lions tonight. Buccaneers going in to Ford Field. As well, we have the Texans going into Seattle for the late game. So anyways, looking at this, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, led by MVP candidate Baker Mayfield, going out there and just throwing the rock all over the field, leading them to a 5-1 record. Going in to see the Detroit Lions at Ford Field. This is going to be a very, very tough game. Detroit is pissed off that they lost last week. They are going to try to use this as a revenge game to get back on track. Tampa Bay going into a hard-to-play Detroit Ford Field, especially where Jared Goff plays very well. I have Detroit winning this game in a close game. The line is 5.5, but I wonder what the spread is, because when we went over the spread yesterday, I believe it was 42.5. And I remember it was 5.5 as the Detroit Lions favorite. Let me check that real quick just to make sure that is the same. I don't want to give any of my betting people out there any wrong information. So give me one moment out there. Let me get that for you. Let's see what we got here. Monday Night Football. We got the Detroit Lions. And yes, okay, I get that. Just give me the damn. There we go. All right, here we are. Buccaneers, so 6.5 favorite now, Detroit, and the spread, I apologize, 42.5 was the other game. 54.5 is the spread here. So again, I got the Lions I got it closer than a touchdown. I got the Lions by 3. So we are going to do a 30-27 game, Lions over the Buccaneers here. In that second Monday night doubleheader, I got the Seahawks beating the Texans The Texans are going through a rather rough season. We all thought it was a sophomore slump for C.J. Stroud, but it seems to have extended a little bit. Seattle is a 3.5 home favorite here. The spread is now down to 41.5. I do have Seattle winning this, and I have the opposite here. I actually have Seattle winning by more than 3.5 here. I have them winning by a touchdown instead. So this is going to be more of a game, whereas the other one was a little bit closer of a game. I'm going to have Seattle winning this game. Let's go with I like a 24-17 home victory for Seattle there. So those are your power rankings there. Shout out my brother Canteen. How you doing? Appreciate you, my friend. Thank you for tuning in. Y'all check out the Bottom Line Sports as well as Let's Talk Sports Network. Indianapolis Colts at number 2. Indianapolis is just, they haven't slowed down yet. They have not slowed down yet. I keep saying, and I know it's eventually going to happen. I just don't know when yet. Daniel Jones will turn back into a pumpkin. Don't you worry about that. Pumpkin time is upon us as I lose my mouse. So I don't know what I'm looking at. But anyways, we'll see if that continues with Indianapolis. Right now, as we talked about on Sunday Showdown, they have to be in the playoffs pretty much as long as they don't have a complete fall off the cliff. Buffalo, Philadelphia, 4-5. Yes, Buffalo is on a bye. Philadelphia coming off that victory yesterday over Minnesota. San Francisco, good victory last night. Even though they're banged up and injured, they still had a great victory at home. Keeps them at 6. Seattle, we'll see what happens. They're there at number 7. Los Angeles held serve, whooped ass as they should have yesterday, 35-7 in the London game. The Green Bay Packers moving in to your top 10. Jordan, as Hot Take Jake calls him, J Love Live, or J, I don't know what he calls him. Anyways, Green Bay Packers playing really, really good ball. And if you think about it, the only thing they had a blemish on their resume is a tie to the Dallas Cowboys, which, by the way, 40-40 tie. You can't tell me maybe my defense wasn't up to snuff that day, but although the Cowboys offense is really good. So, you know what? Packers are a super contender. And then finally, rounding out the top 10, you're going to say, Omar, what the hell is this? You're going to say, I thought you were the sports professor. And I'm going to say, you know what? You better shut your mouth. Yes, the Pittsburgh Steelers are in there at number 10. You're going to say the Pittsburgh Steelers, they just lost to the Bengals 33-31. And just yesterday, sports professor, on Sunday Showdown, you said this was a bad victory for Pittsburgh. Yes, all of these things are true. I did say that. But also, if you know the sports professor, you will know I completely despise and hate the Denver Broncos and the New England Scam Patriots. So that being said, as a moral to myself, I could not put either one of them in the top 10. I believe they're both phony anyways. Will they get into the playoffs? Probably they'll both sneak in, as I said on Sunday Showdown, but I still don't want them to, and I still hate them very much. So even though the Pittsburgh Steelers lost, I'm being very petty and very bitter at this moment, and I am not allowing either of those teams in my top 10. And it's my power rankings, so I can honestly do whatever the heck I want to do. And you're going to accept it because you're watching the program. All right. Thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe at Ball and Buds. Cool. All right. Let's talk a little MVP race. We talked about this yesterday on Sunday Showdown with AP Alan Perales coming through. Y'all tune into Let's Talk Sports Network. AP and the crew out there doing big things. By the way, I got to get this put on. I got to get us put back on Let's Talk Sports, especially Sunday Showdown. AP, I need to holler at you about that. But anyways, what about the MVP race? It's always quarterbacks. Always. We're seeing quarterbacks in the MVP race, winning the MVP race. College, Heisman's usually in college, are quarterbacks as well. You know, I, the sports professor, always advocate for non-QB Heisman's and MVPs because I think it's actual bullshit. It's BS that they always win the award when there are so many other deserving players that have really good seasons. And it's like they have to have a really outstanding season, not even an outstanding season, a super outstanding season to win the MVP, or else they get offensive player of the year or whatever. And this goes for the countless amounts of running backs and wide receivers that have had season upon great season upon great season. So that being said, let's talk a little bit about Jonathan Taylor. Also, Bijan Robinson, right? Also, Christian McCaffrey. All backs having great years. Jonathan Taylor leads the NFL with 697 rushing yards and a projected 27 touchdowns, which would be crazy. Plus, he's with the Colts, which are the best record, 6-1 in the league, with get this professor's fun fact on Jonathan Taylor, over 50% of offensive yardage coming from Taylor or play action based off of his runs. So, it's still a long way to go. We know the voters don't like voting him in, but I always like seeing it. And I like this trio of running backs that are performing well, especially JT, because rest in peace to my best friend, Jonathan Taylor, who passed away a few years ago, but they share the same name. So it's pretty cool. So anyways, there you go. That's your MVP possibilities there, but we'll probably still be a quarterback. And with the way Mahomes has been coming on lately, I mean, well, we'll see. They like to pick him, especially with the Chiefs. By the way, let's talk about what we talked about earlier. ESPN Monday Night Football doubleheaders. Yes, the much maligned doubleheaders. I know everybody on Sunday Showdown yesterday was, we don't like them. You know what? Look, I like it. I love them. I got multiple TVs. So I put one game on each TV. If I want to watch baseball or wrestling, I got multiple laptops. I got multiple phones. I can put multiple things on multiple screens and watch them all at the same time. So I'm all for the more the merrier in sports. You're not ever going to see me complain, because even if there weren't 2 football games on, I would still have something else on the other TV trying to watch it anyways. So that being said, they may be going away. Why? ESPN, although have been broadcasting more back-to-back overlapping Monday Night Football games for the past 3 seasons, is going into an equity deal with the NFL. As you know from watching this lovely show here, that ESPN bought rights to NFL media, including Red Zone, among other things, including a record-tying 25 games in the regular season and 2 more playoff matchups. When they made this deal back in August, ESPN got a 10% equity stake in the league, valued at $2 billion. The deal is still subject to approval from the U.S. government, but if it is to happen in this deal, ESPN will control more games. So ESPN will be looking to possibly air, they don't want to necessarily, but with the way that it's working with ratings, especially, they may have to switch to back to the one single Monday Night Football game. There will also be international contests on NFL Network, as well as all of the CBS, Fox, Peacock, Amazon Prime games, as we start to really separate and segment, where we watch our sports. And by the way, that's going to segue perfectly, because I'm going to tell y'all where you get to watch NBA this season in a little bit. I got a chart for you, very, very fragmented, may I say. But the league typically releases their schedule in May. If the deal is still in limbo and ESPN still has all the say in the games that they play, instead of being merged with the NFL and the NFL having a say, they're probably going to continue the doubleheaders. But if the deal is agreed to and now NFL has a little bit of say in things, they will most likely go back to the single Monday night games, is what they're saying. So what are the ratings on it? 2024 Monday Night Football games, here's your professor's fun fact, averaged 15 million viewers per game. So far, for the 6 doubleheader games this year, week 2, week 4, week 6, the combined average, only one of, the games was above that average, and that was the Bucs Texans that got 17.5 million viewers. Now, this is where I kind of see a dichotomy here. So they averaged 15 million, right, on single game viewership. They only had one game this year that beat that. All the rest of them, including Jets Dolphins, pretty bad game, 8.5 million, so substantially below. But If you combine the games in week 4, it was 21.5 million viewers. And if you combine the games in week 6, it's 22 million viewers. So, yeah, you can't always control the quality of games, but that's still more viewership than you had gotten in single. Now, the dichotomous argument in that case from the network would be, oh, well, if we can get 15 million alone, let's just do that and get the viewers on the other game at another point in time. Fine, but at those prime time is when you get those most viewers. At those other slots, you're not going to get nearly as many viewers. So I think it would even out. And again, I'm no network executive, but with my tabletop napkin math that I'm doing in my head right now, it looks like it would probably even out over time. We will see what happens. I will keep you updated here. Make sure you're subscribed at Ball and Buds, BALLAND BUDS. Yuck Sports says Clubber D. Yes, that is correct. Yuck Sports. You were watching the wrong program. Salute my brother. You know what it is. Sending you my best. All right. Cool. So what about college football? College football is heating up. Look at our AP top 25 poll for the week. Wow. We see something really crazy there in the top 5, don't we? A little craziness in the top 5. We had a huge shakeup this weekend, y'all. First of all, Miami, unbeaten, lost to Louisville. And we had 2 other unbeatens in the top 10, Texas Tech as well, losing. So let's get into all of the chaos that happened in college football. By the way, the only unbeatens that remain in the ACC are Georgia Tech, Virginia, and SMU. Whoever thought they'd say those words, right? But let's take a look at our AP top 25 reigning, defending, undisputed college football champions, the Ohio State Buckeyes. The Ohio State Buckeyes are there at number 1. What is happening here? Move out the way. There you go. Are there at number 1. Indiana. Holy cannolis. Are you kidding me? Indiana, a basketball school? You mean the Hoosiers? The one they made the movie about? You mean Isaiah Thomas? What are we talking about? The great Isaiah Thomas? What are we talking about right now? The Indiana Hoosiers. Number 2 in the rankings, and don't miss out there at number 10. Shout out where I taught for 3 glorious years, the Vanderbilt Commodores at number 10, anchors away. Yes, let's go. Oregon number 6, Georgia Tech number 7, Ole Miss number 8. Well, great game with Georgia there. Miami still at number 9. Again, a lot of chaos with the other unbeatens losing and them also having all other good wins, except that FSU lost at the beginning of the season, keeps them in the top 10. BYU, number 11, Notre Dame, number 12, Mormons and Catholics, back-to-back. Wowzers. Notre Dame, though, good victories, right? First, they went ahead and took it out on USC there this last weekend after having a couple good wins, puts them back into playoff contention. Oklahoma, after that Texas loss, rebounding. Speaking of Texas, moving up as well after that Kentucky win. Virginia keeps moving in. Shout out to my home state Cavaliers. Everybody out there in Charlottesville, the non-racist ones at least. Anyways, Tennessee, Knoxville. Let's go Volunteers. You see it. Tennessee there. Hey, it was a tough loss to Alabama, but Alabama, as you can see, they're in the top 5 and doing really, really well. Louisville, they're at number 19. LSU, number 20, after losing to Vanderbilt. Rounding out top 25, Cincinnati, the aforementioned Texas Longhorns, Illinois, Arizona State, and hey, Clutch B, my brother, Michigan Wolverines moving into the top 25. I did see your text. I have reached out already. I will get to you when I would get a response on that. I had to jump into the show, so I'll text you afterwards. Let's give it into the Athletic. Hey, shout out to the Athletic here. Matchup tracker for our AP Trap 25. Athletic for our brackets as they would look today. So let's take a look at these brackets, what we would look at if they were going in right now. So we would have buys for the Ohio State Buckeyes, Alabama Crimson Tide, Indiana Hoosiers, Texas A&M Aggies would all get buys. Then in that first round, you would have Ole Miss versus Notre Dame, Oregon versus South Florida. Look at South Florida getting in there. That's beautiful to see. What is usually not as it's not a Power 5 school, so there you go. It's a nice a Group of 5 school getting in there. Miami, and then Texas versus Texas Tech, and then Georgia versus Georgia Tech, an in-state battle. Wow, who thought they'd see Georgia Technical getting into the playoffs, man? Crazier things have happened, but we may see a lot of non-football schools starting to get in, and that is the parity of NIL, everybody. That is the parity there, is that we are going to see more and more teams being able to get in because of the fact that there are going to be more chances for losses as the talent disperses. So as we have more teams able to give out not just NIL, but also that new $20.5 million in revenue that they're going to be able to give out to all of their student athletes, which is going to be a de facto salary cap. When you have that, you're going to have talent disperse across the country, which is going to allow you to have more parity within your sports. So we're going to see more and more of this happen. Unbeatens are going to go down more and more. Not only are we going to see 3-loss teams in the playoffs, but at some point, probably not this year, but at some point, we're even going to get a 4-loss team in the playoffs. And I know you're saying I'm crazy, but I guarantee you, watch, it's going to happen eventually. We will get a 4-loss team in the playoffs. Mark my words, you can hold the sports professor to that. So yeah, craziness there, but there's your college football update for the week. All right, NBA starts tomorrow. Woo! The NBA starts tomorrow. Yeah. Yes. NHL in full stride, MLB World Series, NFL in full stride, NBA coming. Woo, we are in full throttle for the winter season. Yes, my Celtics will suck. No, that is okay. I'm not going to cry myself to sleep. We've been good for a few years now, and we won the championship. And me and my dad, my pops, got to go see game 1 courtside. Still balling on you suckers. Y'all can hate, but you ain't got it like me. Holla at your boy when you see me in the streets. All right. That's a little Street Professor rhyme for you there. Did you hear the new intro song? If you didn't, stay tuned in the outro. Street Professor dropping gems on these fools. All right. Anyways, NBA. Let's move it in. Suns in 5, says Clubber D. Man, just Devin Booker there. We were talking about it. Shout out my brother Bobby G. By the way, that gives me a chance to plug the NBA show next Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Bobby G will join me. Hopefully, we'll have Jay from Unfair Sports. I'm going to try to talk to a couple other people, see who we're going to get on. Unfortunately, Mel will not be able to join us, but y'all tap in Man Down Sports, Unfair Sports, and as well Bobby G at the Audible podcast. But we talked about y'all having just Devin Booker there and how it's going to be sad times. So your Suns, my Celtics, and others will be at the table of terribles this year. But yeah, NBA tips off tomorrow night. Let me blow this back up so you can see it a little better. The Rockets versus Oklahoma City is your tip-off game, followed by Golden State versus the Lakers. All of these teams are NBA championship contenders. And you say, what, Omar? You mean the over-the-hill Warriors are still in contention? Yes, there has been an opening, an abridgment, if you will, with all the injuries around the league, including to my beloved Celtics and Jason Tatum, Tyrese Halliburton with Indiana, among many, many others, we are seeing a widening and opening of and a lot of the former powerhouse teams like the Nuggets and others are coming back down towards the pack. So we are seeing an open opportunity for many teams around the league to win this year. Let me, first of all, I'll come back to this slide and I'll tell you about the fragmented viewing. But first, let's give you the power rankings, the NBA power rankings. This comes directly from NBA.com. At number one, should be no surprise to anyone, your reigning, defending, undisputed Oklahoma City Thunder champions. Shout out my brother Jay from Unfair Sports. They, as we know, just rolled last year, and we talked about it last week on Bobby G's Audible podcast, basketball season preview with Wildcard Mar. Will they go for the 73 win victory that Golden State set? Or will they say, well, hey, Golden State set that, but also lost, wink, wink to Bobby G and Wildcard Mar in the finals. So we don't want to end up like that. We're just going to try to have the best record and kind of manage like the Celtics have done the past few years until we get to the playoffs and then turn it on there. Led by SGA, led by Chet Holmgren. We are looking, again, forward nothing to them being, the best team in the league. SGA, just a very efficient player. So we look forward to seeing them play. In number two, the aforementioned Denver Nuggets. NBA.com has them at number two. Look, we'll see what happens. They made some moves in the offseason. They did bring Bruce Brown back, which is going to be awesome for them. Jokic still good enough, still in his prime, still in his MVP era, as they are saying. So we'll see if they can actually continue to keep up the high level of play. We know they fired Mike Malone late into the season, right before the playoffs, and it seemed to have given them a little bit of a jolt at that time. We'll see if it continues into this season, especially losing Michael Porter Jr. Cleveland Cavaliers, Bobby G's Cleveland Cavaliers at number three. The best team in the East last year, the number one seed. They are a very, very strong team led by Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley, Jared Allen, Darius Garland. The whole team is good. They got DeAndre Hunter in there. So you're not expecting anything less than the Cleveland Cavaliers to most likely be the number one seed there in the East. But hold on. Wait just a second there. What's that? What is that I hear? If you watched Bobby G's basketball preview, that would have been the sign, or rather the sound of the sports professor puking his guts out in the background because he picked the New York Knickerbockers over the Cleveland Cavaliers in the Eastern Conference. Now, I do still think the Cleveland Cavaliers will have the number one seed and the best record. But spoiler to my season preview next week, I do think the Knicks, and as a Boston Celtics fan, it makes me sick to my stomach to have to say that, but I do think the Knicks will be the Eastern Conference champion representatives this year in the finals. So again, that's a little tease for you to tune in next week to the NBA season preview, since I can't give you my Western Conference team. But anyways, moving on in the power rankings, the Knicks are at number 4 in your NBA.com power rankings. Look, Brunson is an MVP candidate. You cannot deny that. I know they tried to look at me sour on the program when I said that he could win the MVP and that he was, but hey, it is very, very possible. I mean, personally, probably going to be SGA a second time, but I don't like picking repeat winners, which is why I didn't pick Ohio State to repeat, even though I thought they would. Number 5, Minnesota Timberwolves, surprisingly, because a lot of other publications have them in the top 10, but not in the top 5. But the NBA.com has Minnesota in the top 5, saying that they've done what they've needed to do in the past few years and that they think that they can get over the hump. I don't necessarily agree with the power rankings per se. I do agree with OKC, Cleveland, and New York being in the top 5. I would not necessarily have Denver and Minnesota there. Maybe Denver. I actually have LA Clippers and Houston both above Denver in the West. So again, tune in next week to the NBA season preview. Make sure you subscribe to Ball and Buds, BALLANDBUDS, handy QR code up there at the top. We'll take you to our link tree where you can subscribe to all our social medias. Hit that like button whether you're watching now or on the replay. By the way, the GMs did a survey, and so what did they say as a predictor for who will win the NBA Finals? Surprise, surprise, the GMs, 80% of the GMs polled chose the Oklahoma City Thunder, with the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Denver Nuggets tying at second with 7%. So blowing it out the water, Oklahoma City Thunder was chosen as the GM's favorite. How about MVP? Who did the GMs choose? 67% say Nikola Jokic will get his 4th MVP. 4th, what is that, Booker T?
Listen up, man. The fact of the matter is this. On the five-time
WCW. Whoa, can you dig that, suckers? I should have played the whole thing. But anyways, 4 is what he would be going for. 4th MVP. Luka Doncic comes in second at 10%, SGA in third at 8%. But who would you choose to start a team? Overwhelmingly, you know who it was. GMs chose Wemby, Victor Wembanyama, with the 83% choice there. Who is most likely? Let's see. I don't want to give that away because that's one of my choices that they picked. Let's see. Okay. That's all for the major awards there. But yeah, shout out to the NBA season starting tomorrow. Really excited. So where can you watch the NBA? Here you go. I got it there for you. The sports professor went out and did the hard work. Monday nights, Peacock. Tuesday nights, NBC. Round Ball Rock is back, baby. I don't want to get copyrighted. I'm just going to talk here like it is in the beat of Round Ball Rock, but I am talking, so then maybe I can get copyrighted. NBA on Tuesday, ESPN Wednesday, crack myself up. Prime Video Thursday and Friday, ESPN Friday as well. Prime Video Saturday, ESPN as well on Saturday, and then Sunday, ESPN and NBC. Did you get that all? No? We'll take a screenshot because I don't know what to tell you. That's a lot for me to remember as well. Anyways, so I already gave you the power rankings from NBA.com. Here's the Athletics point of view. You see they got Thunder, Knicks, Cavs, Timberwolves, Nuggets. They've got the same 5 as NBA.com. They've just got them a little rearranged there. I would actually go probably with this one. The Athletic has as a little closer to my rankings. But I really do like the Rockets. I think the signing of Kevin Durant, and by the way, breaking news today, Kevin Durant signs a 2-year, $90 million extension to stay with the Houston Rockets. So that's definitely going to help him out. I think you add him there with that really young team, and I think it's going to be tremendous. How about the NHL? Yes, after signing a new 4-year CBA agreement, they next year will expand the regular season to 84 games. NBA, do I hear you calling? Attendance hit a record 23 million last year for National Hockey League. League revenue reached $7 billion. The salary cap jumps from $95 million to $113.5 million, a 25% increase. Wowzers, that media rights money is good. Deal reinforces player-owner cooperation. NHL, by the way, has just spectacular relationship between players and NHL, which is surprising because no other sport has a good relationship between, and you wouldn't think they would with Gary Bettman being NHL's commissioner, but they don't have lockouts and they make sure that they get things done. That being said, let me show you the NHL power rankings here for the first week. This is actually after the first few weeks of play. This is on the point. Shout out. Thank you for these power rankings. Avalanche at number 1. The Seattle Kraken at number 2. It's crazy how these expansion teams get so good so fast in the NHL, but it's because they're able to pick some of the best players from the other teams because the other teams have to leave players available for expansion teams to get. Number 3, the Nashville Predators. What? I don't expect that to last. By the way, I'll be going to see my Kings this Saturday when they come into town in Nashville. Florida Panthers, defending champions, at number 4. Boston Bruins rounding out your top 5. So we'll see what continues there. Obviously, still very early on in the season, but that gives me a chance to give you my top 5 NHL hockey players of all time. Yes, this is a Sports Professor exclusive. So, who is in my top 5? You see it right here. Top 5 hockey GOATs. Number 5, starting all the way there on the right end, the great Bobby Orr, defensiveman for the Brewers. And he played, man, these old people in hockey, they played for a long, long time. We're going to talk about a few people here, a couple people here that really played for a lengthy amount of times. But he played for 33 years. Again, great defenseman, Bobby Orr, for the Boston Bruins. I have him at number 5. Number 4 in my top 5 hockey GOATs of all time, the great Mario, Super Mario, as he was called, Mario Lemieux, played for my brother Clutch B's Pittsburgh Penguins. He played from 1984 to 2006, and although playing through many injuries, still had multiple MVPs and multiple Stanley Cup winner. So shout out to Super Mario. At number 3, just eclipsing the goals record of the great one, Wayne Gretzky, last year. The Washington Capitals, my hometown team, Washington Capitals, Alex Ovechkin at number 3 of greatest hockey players ever. At number 2, who's that old guy? Oh, just some dude who played for 5 decades. What? Excuse me? Yes, the only player in history in the NHL, and as far as I can tell, I couldn't find anybody else. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm sure there's a baseball player out there, especially when they used to play back into don't even get at me, because I know there's baseball players out there. But for hockey, I couldn't find anybody else. 5 decades. He played in the 1940s, the 1950s, the 1960s, the 1970s, and the 1980s. How do you play 5 decades of a sport? Gordie Howe did it. My number 2 greatest hockey player of all time. And the number 1 GOAT, greatest hockey player of all time. My favorite player, and that's not why he's number 1. He's just number 1 because he's the greatest. The great one is what they call him, Wayne Gretzky, only the best player ever from 1978 to 1999. He played for the Edmonton Oilers and then my Los Angeles Kings. He played for the Rangers too, but whatever. Anyways, Wayne Gretzky is the most prolific scorer and assisting man in hockey history. How much so? I have one of the greatest stats in the history of sports statistics, and I'm sure you might have heard it before. If you're a hockey fan, let the sports professor give it to you. Wayne Gretzky has more assists. And if you're not a sports fan watching this program, an assist is when you pass it to someone else and they score. Wayne Gretzky has more assists than any player, including Alex Ovechkin, has goals. So even though Alex Ovechkin passed Wayne Gretzky for the goals record last year, Wayne Gretzky has more assists than Alex Ovechkin has goals. So when you put his assists and goals together, he eclipses not only Ovechkin by more than 2, but every other player on the list. The great one, Wayne Gretzky. Number 1 in the professor's top 5 hockey goats of all time. That being said, shout out to Jaromir Jagr, who, by the way, is playing in his 38th professional season as he takes the ice for the Kondo in the Czech League, the Czech Republic, extending a career that, by the way, started before the fall of the Berlin Wall. How crazy is that? Jaromir Jagr started playing before the fall of the Berlin Wall, and he's still playing now. Debuted professionally in 1988, last played in the NHL in 2018. Still second time all leading scorer in the NHL after Gretzky with 1,921 points. By the way, yes, he is the owner and president of that club, but don't you dare say anything about him being Putin-like and letting himself play on his own team. He can do whatever the hell he wants to do. He owns the team. Anyway, that being said, moving on. MLS. What? The MLS Cup. Yes, Major League Soccer. Playoffs are upon us, and the final is set. Here is your bracket. By the way, Miami coming into town this Saturday. I might want to go to the game, but I got to go to the Kings game. I don't know. I might try to pull some double stint. We'll see what happens, but let's blow this up a little bit for you there so you can see it a little more. Actually, let me blow it up all the way for you so you can see the cup here. Look, man, the MLS Cup, you see there's 16 teams. Nashville there playing Miami on your right corner, the 3rd and 6th seeds. Number 1 seed, San Diego here in the West, Philadelphia there in the East. The Union had 66 points, not followed far behind by Cincinnati and Miami. So those 3 teams are pretty tight there in the top of the Eastern Conference. So any one of those are your favorites to win the Eastern Conference. You move it over the Western Conference, 63 points for San Diego, but Vancouver Whitecaps also had 63 and LA had 60. So those 3 teams in the Western Conference are going to be your top 3 going into the MLS Cup. Look, Messi is going to win his 2nd MLS Cup MVP. Well-deserved. He had a hat trick last night to finish that off. And so I am going to pick Miami to win the MLS Cup over the Vancouver Whitecaps. So we'll see what happens there. Although I would love to see Nashville, obviously, with the upset there. But we'll see what happens. That will obviously start this weekend. I know Nashville goes to Miami Friday night. All right. And then finally, congratulations in sports to the Aces, the Las Vegas Aces, 3 championships, their 3rd in 4 years, led by perennial MVP Asia Wilson. The, again, Las Vegas Aces, 3 titles, 4 years. It's just tremendous. They swept the Phoenix Mercury's. It wasn't really much of a series at all. And even before the series, I said, I wondered if Phoenix was even going to win a game. And the answer was no. So there you go on that one. But shout out to the Aces. Hopefully Mark Davis can extend those victories to the Raiders. Hopefully some point, sir. any point in time you want to help the Raiders out to be as good as them, we would truly appreciate it. Thank you. Anyways, not for real though. Shout out to the Las Vegas Aces. All right. That is your sports for the day. Please make sure you subscribe to Ballin' Buds, BALLANDBUDS. Make sure you hit that like button, whether watching now or on the replay. That QR code will help you get to all of our social media. Let's give you an update on the games before we get into the entertainment world. The game going on right now, we have the Lions up 7-0 over the Buccaneers. Jared Goff with a touchdown pass there. And then also the baseball game will be starting in just about, with some quick math here, 52 minutes. So 52 minutes there till the MLB game starts. Don't worry. I will be off before because I want to be able to watch both football games and the baseball game and some wrestling. I'll have 2 TVs, 2 laptops, and a phone going on in just a few minutes. But let's move it into the entertainment world. Wowzers. Tay-Tay. Yes, my girl Tay-Tay doing big things. The life of a showgirl broke pretty much every record in music industry. Now, you don't have to tell me. I'm not going to be one of those marks. Oh, she broke all the yes, I get it. Streaming now, it's a lot different than when you actually had to go to the bodega and go buy the physical CD. When we used to go to Potomac Mills or Springfield Mall and go to Tower Records. Shout out all my DMV folks. I know it's a lot different. I get it. Don't even chime in because I'm not going to have to flame you after I just said don't chime in. I get it. It's a lot different. But for the streaming era, she still broke all of the records. So I'm not talking about beforehand. I get it. Okay. We're not going to talk about that at all. We're just going to talk about the streaming era in itself. She sold more than 4 million albums in the US, 5.5 million global album units, all 12 songs, 1 through 12 on the Billboard 100. Never done before, where all of her songs on the album were the top 1 through 12 songs. Say what you will, whether again streaming or not. Other people have had that chance to do that in the streaming generation, and they haven't. So again, largest sales week in any album in U.S. music history. Again, I'm just talking about streaming here. Biggest for Amazon and Spotify as well. Spotify broke 250 million streams. Her 15 number 1 albums are the most in the 21st century, and the most as a solo artist, and extends her record as the most number 1 albums in the Billboard 200 history. Now, this, for all you heads that are going to hate because it's only streaming, I went out and found non-streaming stat for you. Here's your professor's fun fact. She had the most vinyl sales, yes, actual physical records, vinyls sales week in Nielsen, history, surpassing 1 million units sold, first ever album to achieve this milestone, again, on physical vinyl. So even if you want to hate on her streaming numbers, you can't hate on that. Like Enzo used to say about Big Cass in NXT. You can hate on her streaming, but you can't hate on vinyl because you can't teach that. He's 7 foot tall, and you can't teach that. Bada boom, realest guys in the room. How you doing? Shout out Real One and Big Cass. Anyway, so hey, look, you can hate on her if you want to, and I know a lot of people like to, and I get it, right? I don't personally care for like Drake's music or stuff like that, so you could possibly say that it's similar in my dislike or distaste there. But there is not one thing that you cannot deny, and that she is one of, and if not the biggest pop star of all time. And that's getting close to Michael Jackson. And I know that's blasphemous to say, and I'm not putting her over Michael, because Michael is hands down my number one, and that will never change no matter who comes along. Because I think he actually, aside from whatever improprieties and allegations may have come afterwards, before any of that came along, I believe he had already changed the world. Just the way that he healed people without whatever happened afterwards. Again, I'm talking before allegations and all of that. Anyways, she's up there. So there you go. Wowzers. Craziness. About Gretzky? No, I don't think so. I would think he's number one. I don't think that's biased at all. I would not say so. All right, cool. More entertainment news before we get into world news and U.S. news. Black Phone 2. It's a horror movie. If you haven't seen the first one, I'm a huge horror fanatic, so I loved the first one, and I plan on seeing the second one. I'm not going to go to the theaters. I haven't been to a movie in the theaters since before COVID. I hope to go again one day, but I just haven't had a reason to go back. But anyways, opened well globally, globally 42 million worldwide, 26.5 million domestically. Really good for a horror movie. This stars Ethan Hawke. And so basically the premise of the movie is there's a phone. I haven't seen number 2 yet, so I don't actually know the full premise of how the second one ties in. But in the first one, this kid gets kidnapped. There's a phone in the basement in a room that he's locked in. His capturer, his perpetrator, the person who takes him, the kidnapper, comes in and messes with them throughout the movie by psychologically talking to him and things like this. Anyways, I'm not going to spoil the ending, but you go through the movie like this, and it's a very psychological thriller horror movie. Well, this is the continuation of that movie. Supposed to be a lot more of the horror instead of the actual psychological parts of it, but still going to be, I would assume, very good. I love, again, horror movies, and I thought the first one was really good, and I enjoyed the premise of the movie as well. So Black Phone 2, if you're a horror movie person, definitely go check that out. All right, moving into U.S. and world news. So some quick hitters here before we get you out for the evening. You know what? I don't even want that there. We're going to stick with what we had. Government shutdown. Yes, unless you live under a rock, you know that the government has been shut down for about 3 weeks now. Over that now, probably almost a month now. Wait, no, it has been. It started October 1st. That's right. So going on about 3 weeks tomorrow. Look, y'all, this government shutdown hurts a lot of people. I am from the DMV, as you know. So a lot of people close to me are dealing with this. Some are working and getting paid. Some are not working. I mean, some are working and not getting paid. Some are not working. Well, yeah. Some of my friends are not working and they're bums. Get off your ass. And anyways, I cracked myself up. Some are working and not getting paid. So the issue here is that a lot of people are affected. A lot of families are affected that can't afford to feed their kids. We need to get these things figured out. So you asked the professor, first of all, what happens because of these shutdowns? Why is the shutdown being done? And how can we work to solve the shutdown? As you know, we are neutral on this program. I do not like either party, conservative or liberal, Democrat or Republican. I think both of the parties are crap. I think all politicians are liars, cheaters, and scums. So that being said, we keep it neutral here on this program. I only inform you for you to have information and be informed, so you do not look uninformed when you're having those conversations with your friends and family. So a growing number of critical agencies and programs will face furloughs and operational disruptions. This will cause economic, security, and social service impacts. Roughly 900,000 federal employees have been furloughed, and an additional 700,000 working without pay. The shutdown is now the third longest in U.S. history, and an analyst, I was about to say a real bad different word on that one. Analyst, excuse me. Wowzers. Analysts estimate the economic cost could be $7 billion per week lost in GDP, which is gross domestic product growth, which is basically the overall domestic growth that the United States makes on a yearly basis. One model projecting up to 15 million if a stalemate continues. This affects everything, y'all, including overseers of nuclear capabilities. The National Nuclear Security Administration has furloughed 80% of its workforce. Only about 375 essential workers remain. So you're talking about nuclear things that we really need people to be working on and not sitting at home. 1,250 employees across the administrative office of the U.S. courts. Key modernization projects, warhead maintenance, non-proliferation efforts. These all raise national security concerns. And then everyday services, FAA staffers. 5,800 flights were delayed due to staffing issues. 20% of flights from major airlines delayed. Agents working without pay. I'm sorry, but if you're asking me, some of the people I don't want being pissed off while they're working include the FAA. I don't need my airline agents being pissed off while I'm trying to get through security. It's already hard enough. Okay? So can we get these people paid so they're not pissed off? Head Start program risks losing funding for 58,000 preschoolers. Federal workers face the prospect of 10,000 plus layoffs, with one White House estimate citing north of 10,000 layoffs. This is horrible. So you ask, Omar, why is this happening? The conservatives, the Republicans, own the majority in the House, Senate, Congress, right? Yes, that is correct. They do own the consensus in the three judicial branches in those branches of government. That being said, they do not own 60% of the votes in the Senate, which is needed in order to pass or in order to end the shutdown. That would require 6 Democrat senators to move over to the Republican side in an agreement to end the shutdown. So you ask, well, why haven't they done this yet, Omar? Well, there is good reason why the Democrats have not done this. Now, let me give you both sides because I watched both sides and I want to let you know what both sides are saying. The conservatives, the Republican side of the aisle, are saying this is a clean CR, a clean continuing resolution, which means that this is a bill that had been passed by the Democrats before, which is true, and had been continued to be passed without discrepancies in the past. So you may ask, okay, well, where is the holdup here? Now, the holdup and the reason why the Democrats don't want to end the shutdown is for ACA, also known as Obamacare subsidies or enhanced premium tax credits. And so you ask, Omar, professor, teach us. What does that mean? Well, if you look at this overall, there are Obamacare subsidies, which, yes, the Democrats did in a sneaky way agree to continue back in 2021 until now, when they knew they'd be able to use it against the conservatives in the midterm. So sneaky, but it's not like the Republicans have never done that before. At this point, both parties are going tit for tat, and it's bullshit because it's messing all of us up because they don't like to get along with each other. We really do need that third party to come up at some point, but neither here nor there. As an independent, I give it to you straight. Almost 5.8 million people would lose medical care and health insurance if these subsidies were to go away. And a lot of those people in red conservative states, including Texas, Louisiana, and Florida. So you say, well, Omar, we heard that illegal immigrants were being given this health care. Cool. Right-wing talking point, conservative talking point. Sure. Does health care slip through the cracks because there are rules, whereas if someone comes into a hospital, even if they don't have necessary insurance, they still get the care. So illegal immigrants could get care that way. Yes, that could happen. But that's not what this is about. The majority of the people are here are legal immigrants who are going to lose their health care if these subsidies expire. Again, a lot of people like Obamacare. When it was first brought up, it was a Republican Democrat thing. But then after a while, once Republicans got it and they were like, hey, we have really good health care, right? It's like a lot of them came on board. Now, could healthcare be better? Sure. I think we should have universal healthcare. I think we should have free healthcare for everybody. I think the government should pay for it. Would the quality of healthcare go down? Sure. But I'm sorry, I don't really care what kind of care Elon Musk gets. I care what kind of care people that don't have money get. So I mean, that's just me. Anyways, from neither here nor there. From KFF.org, which is an independent policy, health policy research, polling, and news center, says that if these expire, the health insurance would double for about 11 to 20, over 24 million people. So the premiums would double. That means that a lot of people would be losing these subsidies that allow them to pay less. So, for instance, they say, for example, with the enhanced tax credits in place, an individual making $28,000 will pay no more than around $325 of their annual income towards their plan. If these expire, that same person would pay nearly 6% of their income and could pay $1,562. That means that a person making $28,000, which ain't shit these days, you can't barely live on $28,000. Believe me, because I'm making a little more net at my consulting job, and if I wanted to live off just that income, I'd barely be living. $28,000, and you would go from $325 to $1,562. So you'd be paying $1,250 more dollars a year in medical premiums if these expire. That's why it's important to at least 5.8 million people that could lose their health care completely, and then 11 to 24 million people who would have their premiums doubled. So a lot of people would be affected by this. So what can be done? Well, obviously, the shutdown has to end at some point so people can start to get paid. Yes, people do get paid in the long run, but still, it doesn't help people now. We have to have 6 senators come over from the Democrats. It's not going to happen now. It's not probably going to. They say this could extend to one of the longest shutdowns ever. They're talking possibly through the holidays. I think that's bullshit. I think they need to get it done immediately. We don't pay y'all motherfuckers to sit on your ass with all this bullshit. I don't know what's going on. Y'all get paid way too much to sit the fuck at home. Get your ass in there. Get this figured out, because don't nobody got time for this. Okay? Ain't nobody got time for that. All right? Meet me outside. Catch me outside. How about that? Catch me outside. How about that? All right? Look. Somehow, some way, this got to get. Don't listen to the right-wing talking points or the left-wing talking points. It's also not because of the Jeffrey Epstein files. It's also not because of Schumer and AOC. Yes, those are all little things that may play a part here and there, but don't really matter to the overall scheme of things. What really matters is that people will really lose their health care if the shutdown is not ended with these subsidies being extended. I know the Republicans don't like to hear that, but that is the case. And if they do open the government and don't agree in good faith to negotiate, which I can't see how they would when they don't want to now and haven't in the past, then people are going to lose their health care, and there's going to be a lot more sad people come holiday time. That being said, those same people protested in the No Kings rallies across the nation. Again, I'm here to give you the independent point of view. The right conservatives wanted to call this the Hate America rally. It was nothing of the sorts. Actually, I went to the last one. I wasn't able to go this time because unfortunately they moved it from downtown where it's supposed to be usually, or I would have gone, and they moved it to Murfreesboro. But very peaceful, no major arrest, a couple minor arrests here and there, but it turns out we're mostly from people trying to obstruct. So conservative side people, right-wing people. So after all that talk from the right wings about how there was going to be all this destruction and everything, all peaceful rallies across all 50 states, including thousands here in Nashville and in Knoxville and many other places around the states. That is democracy at its finest, when you can peacefully protest without violence and be able to get your point across, which is that America was raised with no kings. There should never be a king of America. That is why we disbanded from the British in the damn first place. And no person should ever be allowed to have any sort of power close to what a king would have. That is why we have the three branches of co-equal government, and that is why we have the Constitution written as such. I am so proud of all the people that went out there and peacefully protested this weekend, to remind the United States that one man does not rule all. And again, I am an independent. I do not care about the right or the left, but I do see the encroachments that Donald Trump has taken as president. And you can't deny the encroachments that he's taken in terms of not only just reining in the government to be his own in all types of ways, from every single department, but also enriching himself. The countless stories of him enriching himself through his presidential stature. So, it is what it is. He was voted in. He's going to do things the way he wants to do things. But there is a time and a point in time where the people have to stand up in order to say that those lines will not be crossed. The lines of authoritarianism and dictatorship shall not be crossed. And the United States shall never have a king. So all the BS about 3 terms that he's tried to bring up and all that, scratch all that. We ain't having none of that up in here. Okay? All right, there's a reason that the Constitution was written as such. There is no absolute. Okay? There is no king. And as far as I'm concerned, there is only one king, Jesus Christ. So there is no kings in the United States. Proud of everybody that went out there, peacefully protested with no violence. That's the way that you do things. And look, every revolutionary, right, is another man's rebel. And the people on the right are not going to like that they went out and did that protest. And that's okay. That's fine, because you are able to protest in the way you want to. And maybe that's not the way you would do it. Maybe you wouldn't go out there. Okay? And yes, some of the violence and some of the destruction that has happened within protests in the past is not right. But when you can peacefully protest like this, it's a beautiful, beautiful sight. Beautiful, beautiful sight to behold. So, again, shout out to everybody going out and making your voice heard. All right, so moving off of that into some world news to end us off before we get out of here. We're going to go do all the things I need to do. But anyways, in some world news, President Donald Trump and Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky did meet about the Ukrainian-Russia war. As we know, this war has been going on a long time. Donald Trump said he would stop it in day one. We're still here a long time down the line. But with the Russian-Ukraine war, there still has not been a ceasefire. President Donald Trump tried to convince Vladimir Zelensky to give up the Donetsk region of Ukraine. That is obviously not going to happen. That is a key point of defense along the Ukrainian-Russian border for Ukraine. If they were to give up the Donetsk region, which is close to Kiev, they would be giving up a supreme part of their battlefield, which will allow Russia to come into Kiev and take over completely. So they can't do that. Trump got really pissed off apparently at Zelensky, and they got into a shouting match. He was echoing Putin trumping points, trumping points, trumping points. That's right. Talking points, which is no surprise. But Trump also is supposedly thinking about giving Tomahawk missiles to Ukraine, which would definitely escalate the war to a point where Putin said would be considered confrontational, which obviously would not be good because we do not need any escalation in the war, as both of these sides are nuclear powers, as we've talked about on this show before. In other ceasefire or non-ceasefire news, Israel Hamas, there was announced a ceasefire last week. I was going to come on to talk about it, and I said, no, I'm not even going to waste my time because the ceasefire will last less than a week, and I'll have to talk about it next week. Boy, was I right, as this is always what happens. Apparently, there's a ceasefire, and then Israel bombed and killed 26 in Gaza because apparently the Hamas was not living up to their agreement. Look, this is always going to happen, y'all. These ceasefires are never going to last. You can let President Donald Trump say he has, solved 18 million wars when he's incredibly maybe solved this one and didn't even, because now they're back to fighting. So yeah, whatever. Anyways, about that, we'll see what happens now. We'll keep you updated, but they continuing firing each other now. Airstrikes, tank shelling, intense gunfire overnight. Disputes continue between Israel and Hamas on the return of hostages' bodies, the ones that have done. Again, I mean, you can't trust a terrorist group. So why are you going to trust that a ceasefire is going to continue? I just don't understand. Anyways, another ceasefire news. Afghanistan and Pakistan have agreed to a ceasefire amid rising border violence after weeks of escalating border clashes that left dozens dead. Afghanistan and Pakistan agreed to a ceasefire meditated by Qatar and Turkey. Both sides accuse the other of harboring cross-border militants. The fighting has killed at least 40 people and injured over 200 over the past month. The ceasefire aims to halt hostilities that have disrupted border trade and displaced civilians. Pakistan's resurgence of militancy traces back to 2021 following the Taliban's return to power in Kabul. What a great job we did there. Sarcasm detected. Anyways, another news for another day. Trump halts aid to Colombia, accuses President Petro of drug collusion. You're saying, Professor, talk to us. What is this nonsense about? Well, I'm sure you've heard lately in the news, we have struck and capsized. I don't know what's wrong with my words. 7 different ships traveling in South American waters to have been said to have been drug-carrying boats and vessels. President Donald Trump and the United States government, or the Southcom, essentially, have not come up with evidence proving that they have drugs on these boats, but apparently we're supposed to go along with those claims. President Trump has announced he is now ending all aid to Colombia, which is an ally of ours, because he calls President Gustavo Petro a drug leader. We've had decades of anti-narcotics cooperation between the two. This reminds me of an episode on Narcos, which is a great show, by the way. You should check it out. Clipper D and I talk about it quite often. U.S. aid has dropped from $700 million to $230 million in the last fiscal year, now cut to zero. Again, we will see what happens here. Petro has accused the Trump administration of killing an innocent Colombian fisherman in one of those missile strikes and plans legal action. The U.S. State Department warns that the cut could weaken counter-narcotic efforts and embolden traffickers. So, man, a lot of shit happened up in the world today. Y'all got to stay safe out there. Stay blessed from head to toe. Keep yourselves clean like a referee with a whistle. You know what I mean? But no, that is our show for today. By the way, I want to wish a happy Diwali to my brother Amul Madan and all my other friends that celebrate Diwali, which is a Hindu festival of lights celebrated in India and other Hindu lands. It is the festival of lights, light over darkness, the battle, good over evil is what it is to signify, and it is a great celebration and festival for Amul and my other Hindu brothers and sisters. So salute, blessings to you all in your 5-day celebration. May you all be blessed. And that is it for your Professor's Semanalmente. I am your host, Omar, the Professor Fonseca. Make sure you subscribe at Ball and Buds, BALLAND, handy QR code right up there at the top. We'll take you to our link tree. You can subscribe to all of our social medias as well. Hit that like button, whether watching now or on the replay. It helps us out a lot. It is free to you, but invaluable to us. Don't forget, tomorrow night on Ball and Buds, we will have our MLB World Series preview. The aforementioned my brother Amul will bless us during his holiday of Diwali. He will bless us in our MLB World Series preview as well. From the Rec Room, Lion Reese Penn will be on, and as well, I believe I'm going to have our brother AP, Alan Perales from Let's Talk Sports. I got to talk to him. If not, maybe I'm going to try to get one of our other brothers on. Need one more person for that. And then possibly a boxing combat sports show maybe later this week with Clubber D. And then if not, definitely NBA season preview. We're going to wait for the first week to go on next week. It'll be hopefully Jay from Unfair Sports will be able to join us, as well as my brother Bobby G from Audible Sports Podcast will be on. And then I'll have somebody else join us as well, if I can get that guy Dave, or possibly someone else. Mel, unfortunately, from Man Down Sports won't be able to join us this time. But y'all make sure you tap in with everybody, because those are still all of my peoples, and we be all working together on this. It is a collaborative effort, so tap in with everybody. The Lions are leading 7-0 with 12:32 left in the second quarter. The baseball game is going to start in 20 minutes. That being said, to everybody who tuned in on YouTube at Ball and Buds, everybody who tuned in on Facebook at Ball and Buds, to everybody who tuned in on Instagram, A Day in the Life, my brother Coach Malave, my brother High Side AG, hey, Ryan Sipovicius, y'all check it out. I did an amazing interview with Ryan Sipovicius, up and coming MMA fighter out of Queens, New York. I did that on millions.co. Check it out. I'm doing interviews on millions.co now. Ball and Buds, check it out. It was a great interview we did today. Shout out to him as well. And Rhythm Cairo, appreciate you checking out as well. Peace, blessings, y'all. Till tomorrow with our baseball show. I am Omar, the Professor Fonseca. Be blessed. Go out there, succeed, be kind to each other, and spread love the Omar way. Holla. 5.
That street on high-five beat. Give me paper, pen, and one mic to make this man complete. I'm always stay sucker free. So haters hop off my dick till the day I DIE. Focus till my mission complete. Never stops that victory from the jaws of defeat. Focused on create heat. Missile shot, war down enemies. We must defeat. This MC is so unique. Rocking heads, stop them dead, then bring them back to their feet. You better watch what you speak. Just popping off with the mouth, I'll leave your body feel weak. Switch your face and grit your teeth. Cause anything else will have your outlook look bleak. Death is the time for sleep. Nicho, make a rhyme. Never slow down, never stop, I'm always on my grind. In any mountain I will climb. Reach my physical prime and I ascend to the peak.
Introducing Omar, the Professor Fonseca, and the Professor Semanalmente.